Boosting back to our story, a lot of things have happened ever since that climactic battle in Station Square as Metalix left the planet, with the original Hedgehog being absent and MIA during the time skip, making good on their promise. Tails and Amy with no other choice attempt to spar together a little bit, doing anything to make sure that they aren't a burden next time. The duo gaining a little bit of experience, as even with Eggman making some side plots on the side, like the events of Sonic 4 episode 1 and 2, which makes Amy and Tails more well-rounded as both scientists begin to build their own rivalry stemming from part 2. Eventually though, Amy complained that their games wasn't enough, Tails recognizing this as well, as with only one possible choice as a possible teacher, Knuckles on Angel Island humors the two to put them in shape, getting more into their combat and even a bit of chaos energy experience as the Fox and the Echidna collaborate with each other. Knuckles' hypothesis of positive energy being a weakness for the dark form, and maybe even Metalix in the future. Amy throwing herself especially at the training, gaining the boxer skills that she had in Sonic Battle earlier here, and even some new chaos techniques, while with Knuckles, him gaining a bit more mastery of that little Master Emerald boost that he gave himself back in part 2. But Tails would get frustrated soon enough, not making as much progress as the two. Even Heavy's rivalry growth with Knuckles was even beginning to be noticeable, telling himself that clearly intelligence was more of his strong suit. And with an explanation of Eureka deciding to maybe upgrade the Chaotix bot duo to even bigger threats that even Eggman wouldn't be able to handle. And even two pet projects that he was betting the squad would need someday, firmly never wanting to be a burden again. Amy too did what she could to look for Sonic, even hiring the Chaotix Detective Agency numerous times to use their skills to find the Blue Blur. But they would always conveniently come out short, with Espia strangely barely being there half the time. They were definitely hiding something. Leading us to the present with the named Pink Hedgehog back in Station Square after all this time, with Heavy and Bomb following their hard-headed mother figure around throughout the nightlife city. Amy being glad the city was fixed, but annoyed of Sonic's reputation getting ruined because of it. Almost like deja vu though. Crowds begin to surround all the local TVs and the global organization GUN displays some sort of emergency report of a black hedgehog figure that they deemed to be the same thing that destroyed Station Square all that time ago. Amy, thinking she found her heroes, are just about to contact Tails when police sirens of her own blare out. Bomb and Heavy already following, with the duo joyfully saying it's hero time, while it's being met with the scene of a strange, water-like creature with a strange device on his scalp, destroying cars and eating bullets for breakfast. The little Dynamite attempts to go for a friendly hello, but has to be saved by his best buddy before he can get absorbed. Instantly, a hammer slams on the brain of the creature, repelling it immediately, telling the bros to stand back as she had an icky monster to handle. Chaos Zero's water attacks being deflected as she spins her hammer back to deflect the blast away. And with a pulled back swing just like in Sonic Battle, erects a pink tornado, no diffing and splattering the creature all over the floor. Right before then scolding Heavy and Bomb as they whined that they didn't even get to show off their new abilities this time. Like a shocked cartoon character, the Eggman finally makes his appearance known, being a bit shocked that the damsel from CD didn't need a hero this time to get on his nerves. Amy began yelling at the doctor what was his plans this time, the villain going on a monologue that he learned an important lesson about control from his last foiled plans. Pointing to the strange control device on Chaos, he had big plans this time for Earth. Especially if one of his roid robots on the loose in space or something, he decided to execute both Plan A and Plan B at the same time, with the help of the God of Destruction and the Ultimate Life Form, tossing a Chaos Emerald at the puddle that he took from Casinoopolis. The creature doubled in size and strength like a Zenkai boost, a bit scared by the confidence in their numbers. Amy contacts Tails about the situation, but he says back that he has his own debacle to deal with, when suddenly a quick bat-like figure knocks away the phone. The sneaky sensation herself, talking to Amy like an unimpressed model that none of that would be happening here. The trio now being surrounded by threats on both sides. Cutting to the braver sidekick in this timeline, we're met with the scene of Tails seemingly staring down some sort of messed up visage of his role model with red stripes. After the typical "Are you Sonic" mishap, the Shadow already looked annoyed enough with the increased gun aggression he was getting this time around. Gripping his own Chaos Emerald, Tails forcing himself to confront the speedster about the Emerald if any of his plans, but deeming the Fox as a waste of time, especially with the rendezvous that the Doctor planned. In typical fashion, he hits the Chaos Control aura farming move before preparing to knock out the Fox. hitting home but is surprised when an energy cannon from the Fox's arm blows past his side that he easily dodges. Taking this as a joke, he's surprised when in anime-esque style, the energy doesn't aim for the hedgehog, but the ground behind him cracks forming around the mess with this ability. Tails being glad that he learned from Sonic's bout with Knuckles round 2 to do this. A bit annoyed that his trick wasn't that bad, Shadow still shows that he's still superior, speed blitzing with a rush of wind that pushes the Fox back as he mutters a signal, signaling one of the robots that helped him take the emerald from the base in the first place. Like a JoJo character, suddenly behind Tails, the appearance of E100 Zero with red eyes gleam down at the Fox, as the green robot dashes towards Tails, while Shadow dashes away himself, telling the robot to hurry up with the job. The Fox begin to show the same Freddy Fox nature, tackling for an elimination, but the fear was an act. Two elongated metal punches hitting the E-Series at the same time, Tails putting all of his trust on his robot arm technology, creating a buffer to drop into an instant shield to block, to cut into the machine. Mimicking Sonic's attitude but with more studiousness as he jeers himself that he's seen badniks with better attack patterns. The robot getting angered at the disrespect, about to slam the Fox into a squish, Tails pulls out a power ring in his hand, muttering with nervousness that I guess it's time to try it out, as he knew Sonic would be the only one to be able to use it better. Instantly, in rotational winds, Tails' spin dash takes a double shooter look with ease, slamming Zero into full destruction. After, Tails getting a bit wobbly that his hypothesis of only natural speedsters being able to use it efficiently and being worried at this new Sonic getting away. Back at Station Square, the usual confident but now a bit annoyed preppy city girl was actually going hit for hit with her, but Eggman orders for the fight to stop. They got what they came for. Everyone in the city looking up to see the egg carrier, the gigantic, almost city-sized airship looming over. Eggman grins on the other end of his call as he hears success, ordering Chaos 1 and Rouge to get out of here, dipping off before Amy could catch up. The Hedgehog annoyed that she couldn't finish her fight with the stuck-up spy, especially with the emerald being gone. The meetup at the egg carrier presented a devious situation as we're met with a villainous team-up, as Shadow hands over his emerald to feed to the evolving now Chaos 2. Shadow questioned if he really had that monster under control, especially for the Eclipse Canon plan, and who was this hedgehog that he kept being compared to? The Doctor jeering that of course, especially with his now new E-Series for more defense, the Rotund Professor not letting another Metalik situation happen again. All bugs in any program has been fixed in this timeline, aka no good Gamma, as the red lights shine from the 5 E-Series robots. Robotnik saying that this Sonic was no concern to them with this lineup as he laughs. Rouge very much noticing the tinge of nervousness behind that statement, but he kept it to herself for her own investigation. Meanwhile, at the Chaotix Detective Agency, the squad meets up to discuss what just occurred. Eggman was really at full throttle this time, and still with no major Sonic appearance, it was going to be tough. Amy definitely noticing the sweat coming off Vector and Charming at the mention of him and their third member's disappearance. The Robros still exclaiming their usefulness in this situation, while Tails point out that this may be the perfect time to unleash his newest plane to hit Eggman where it hurts, and do some research on this whole Shadow and Chaos duo. But before any plans can be heard, in cartoon-esque motion, the guardian of the Master Emerald, Knuckles, crashes outside the home, hands lifted in the air in anger and revenge. After settling down and realizing that he glided to the right place, Knuckles relays his own POV, the sudden ambush that he had last night, him facing off against a black hedgehog that was definitely similar to Sonic. If only he wasn't ambushed, the Master Emerald would have been destroyed to release this chaos or whatever. The Echidna angry that he didn't get the chance to show his own gains of chaos energy against the Faker in their own fight. Calming down now, Tails forms of a plan to divide the group to search for both the Emeralds and the Master Emerald shards, with Knuckles teaming up with Vector for his shards while Amy with Charmy to get any emerald located in Prison Island. The Fox actually revealing an emerald that he had himself, ready to use for his excursion to the egg carrier, especially warning everyone of the possible ire of Gun in this timeline due to both the good and evil hedgehogs and their happenings here. Everyone splitting off, but not before feasting their eyes on said invention, everyone in all of what Tails really had been cooking up this entire time. Cut into Knuckles and Vector's POV throughout Red Mountain, with the echidna stewing on his loss to the mysterious hedgehog, as the joyful alligator uses his unorthodox detective skills to help out and cheer the warrior up. The alligator noticing that the more shards they collect, the more the warrior's fists begin to glow up with green energy, the same way he heard happen with Knuckles' fight with Sonic originally. While gliding together, with Vector practicing how far he can push his bubble gun, the echidna is straight up with Vector, truly asking how Sonic's progress been, already concluding that after the Metalix fiasco, he knew the hedgehog would have taken his words to heart. Sighing now, Vector states that the whole thing wasn't as much of a chaotic concern but more SPO. As with them being a trio, he vowed to keep quiet about it as much as they can, especially when this was more what the Blue Blur wanted anyway. When the time was right, the fastest thing alive would come out like he always does, especially now with two ancient beings being awakened now, hoping that he and Charmy didn't have to throw down with such intimidating foes. Suddenly though, a white light pushes the two into a flashback. Knuckles for the first time in ages recognizing some of his own people, almost like a little kid going to try and talk to some of them, but is met with tense argument between a young echidna girl and her father against the misuse of the emeralds, jolting the echidna's memory back when Robotnik was researching his history back on Angel Island. When it gets to the point of the warriors rushing down past the girl, Vector's anger boils as he attempts to shoulder bash against the unruly warriors himself. The two finding themselves instead talking to the spirit of said girl, Takal, warning of the dangers of chaos and even complimenting the alligator's eagerness to help, which makes the dude fold a little bit. Knuckles being ashamed of the lie that his people were honorable warriors, Takal saying that the spirit of the new echidnas relied on him and his friends, especially noting that this shadow as well contained darkness that Sonic had as well. After being just showed a glimpse of the Colony Arc incident, Knuckles and Vector race off, knowing that the lengths both the controlled chaos and Shadow will go to reach their goals is far more than their allies know. Cutting off to the egg carrier, as Shadow was just being warned of this timeline before heading off to Prison Island himself, when with sudden speeds that break the sound barrier, an identified speeding object shoots down the side of the gigantic ship. Eggman peeved now, Tails then proudly lands on the decks with determination, stating the next state-of-the-art plane improved since the Metalix fight, as with sudden metallic arms begin to stretch from the plane in fighting formation. The X-Tornado makes its appearance. Grinning evil of himself, Eggman tells Shadow to take Chaos 2 with him down to the island. He was going to handle the sidekick for himself, ready to see if his sudden confidence boost still had the same luck it had the last time. Eggman himself showing his own new machine, the Egg Viper. As it's about time they went brains for brains, the two ancient enemies escaping from the ship, the watery one almost fidgeting a little bit strangely. Shadow not noticing, but still wondering what faker could possibly motivate a two-tailed freak like that to do all of this. As beknownst to everyone, but back at the Mystic Ruins, a ship crashes nearby, with two figures standing before it, one in a familiar speedy tone, while another in a more disciplined manner. As when the creature or girl here steps out, she almost cries in happiness to find the only being that could save her people from their cause. You're Sonic the Hedgehog, aren't you? Cosmo, the petal alien states, as this is where I'll be leaving things for right now. Yes sir, hey, it's been a bit, been a couple months coming. That's part 5 to What If Dark Sonic is canon. How do you guys feel of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 happening at the same time? But we'll see how things go from there. As I already said, make sure you guys support the Patreon, as I'm going to be focusing on that more lately, since, to be honest, bro, I made like, what, $9 off these last few What Ifs, bro. I'm not gonna keep killing myself for these. And like you guys have probably seen, I'm going to be definitely doing a little bit less editing from now on, so I can get these out faster and get less headaches. Shout out to especially Karma on YouTube for being my first Patreon over on there. And also shout out to Atheria X213 for being the first YouTube member also. You guys are literally the only ones letting me buy some checkers, and hopefully some of you guys join up for real so I can get some more custom art, because I'm not going to keep spending the low funds I got. Anyways, that's all for me. Make sure you guys watch the Absurd Sonic video, some of the other videos that I'll be dropping on here, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a blessed rest of y'all day.